Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Fixing Up the Commonwealth. And today's episode we're going to concentrate on building something in this space here. And mainly we're going to be using a new mod which I'm going to show you now. This is a mod by Serena and it's called Grounded. It's ported to Xbox One by Cordless. I think we all know him. And fantastic mod, one I've been looking for quite a while. And as we go through today's video I will explain how it works, so hope you enjoy this. And I will be using a second mod called Sandbags Fortifications, but I'm only going to be using I think one item in that, so I will be covering that mod in a later video. So I've left some of this in. Grounded has a whole lot of these landscape textures, I guess is the right word, available in the concrete tab, and you can see there's one of the hardest things in this build was to try and find the one that fits here. So you can see it's divided up by a whole lot of different regions in the Commonwealth. I'm just going to shimmy through a few of these. You can see there's so much that you can choose from, and you'll see this used. I use this quite a bit in the Cutler's Bend build which I'm about to start on the channel. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So initially I think I'm going to use this one, and then you can see, look, Blasted Forest, Pre-War, Commonwealth. So we end up using a texture from here. So I'm going to skip ahead now, and we're going to use this one here for this build. Now if you're using Grounded, you will need some additional mods, and I'll talk about those as we go through this build. I have messaged Cordless about this, about some possible ideas for additions to this mod, and I think from his reply that the mod developer may be working on that already, and when we get to that point I'll make you aware of what those changes are. So initially I've put those three in. What I realised I'll have to do with this one is that I have to actually sink the first ones into the ground. So it's one thing that you need to be aware of. So I've left that in. So it's a pretty easy thing to do. Just put the three down now. I think one of the difficulties I had was to try and get this to group select using the pillar. Had to find that right point. And yes, we're under attack again. I know it's been going on. We've been under attack a few times. This doesn't take too long. Put three together, group select them, and then line them up and drop them into the ground. Now, I don't get this absolutely spot on, but I get it pretty close. And so I'm not too worried about the little gap that I leave, because I can fill that in with other materials. So that's pretty good, but you can see right on the edge here it's not quite sunken far enough. Now there is smaller individual pieces that I can put in there. I choose to go a different way, using some other stuff just to camouflage that gap there. Either or. So we're just going to chuck these down, and you can see it's pretty seamless when it fits together like this. That one will fit in there. You go. I'll just take a different angle, and suddenly we can create a little underground area and have it fairly well camouflaged. Now there are a whole lot of different things that you can use here. Arbor, I do like these. At first when I looked at these I was like, I wasn't quite sure, but the arbor I do like. So I'm going to put some foundation blocks in the bottom here. I'm going to have to move a few things around in a sec I think, but we just move these fridges out of the way just to get that last piece in. Come on. See, there are these little individual pieces there like that you can chuck in. The only thing is I don't like this border they have around them. You can see they're a little bit more obvious. We'll leave that out of the way. But for a floor and for what we're going to do here, it's fine. That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to use one of these shack wall end pieces, one of these, as our entrance. There we go. Maybe maybe pull that one across it. Maybe it needs to come across just a fraction. There we go. No, the other way. Yeah, no, you had it right. See the faffing that goes on when I usually cut this stuff out. So that's going to be our entrance there, but it's going to be slightly hidden. And again, thank you to Chaos in Fallout for this idea, even if you don't realise you gave me an idea. It will all become apparent at the end of the build. So here we go. And I'm going to use these walls here just to make it look a little bit camouflaged and let it just kind of sort of blend into the background, because that's the look I'm going for. I'm going for a very kind of secret hidden little area, but again a little bit obvious at the same time. That doesn't really make sense, but it will once I get this all built. There we go. So that's okay. That's looking where it needs to be. So now we have to fill that hill gap, and a big shout out to Turkey Buzzard and Scott from Esbrew for introducing me to this next mod, which is called Sandbag Fortifications. I'm going to use that particular piece right there, and you have no idea how long it takes me to get this in. I'm going to cut to when we actually have it put into where it needs to be. To get it straight and everything was just it took forever. The only thing I like this mod, I like what this mod offers, but the organization of it could be a lot better. You have to scroll a long way through menus to find certain parts. So yeah, apart from that, the mod developer has done a fantastic job in putting these items together. I just think it needs a little bit of a workshop rearranged organization to make it to work. So I'm going to move forward to where I actually get this piece in, because it takes forever to do. So there you go, after about 6 minutes I finally got this to fit, and now what you can see is a little gap there. So Grounded actually has all these in the decor menu. It has these mounds of dirt that you can use just to fill gaps like that, or fill the side of a structure like that. So we're going to pop these in. I'm going to fast forward again because I've got to save time, because this build video is over 40 minutes, so I need to chop it down. So you can see I'm just going to use the pillar to put that in. So it's I think actually end up using place anywhere. So we'll just cut to the part where we get that in place. And now what I'm going to do, you can see there's a little bit of a gap. I'm going to put a rock just in there and build this side up again. And again, Grounded has all these different options that you can use, rocks and dirt, and combining all that together to get this to work. So you can see there's just that fraction of a gap there. But you'll see in the final build, and again I'm learning how to use this mod at the moment. So in the final build, I didn't have to go into as much faffing as I do, because there are other things that I can do to hide that from being totally obvious. So the hardest part of this was to find a place where this rock will place. In the end, I actually go with these smaller rocks for the side, and I use the bigger rocks up on the hill there, just to dress it up a little bit. So they have these smaller kind of rocks here. Drop it in there, and then I'm going to put another one that has, you can see it's like an L shape almost, and I'm going to blend that into there just to make it all look natural, like it's been there forever. And you can see there are reference rocks around Sunshine Tidings, so this is not a complete stretch. I may use Place Anywhere and just switch off the collision to get this done. So there we go, fantastic. And we'll just ease it up a fraction, not too much, and there we go. Now once I dress all this up, you're never going to see that gap. So again, up to you how long you want to spend doing this. Obviously I spent quite a bit of time, so let's skip forward, and you'll see in a second or so that I've added all these little rocks into place, and some of the bigger ones on the hill here, and created a kind of natural pathway. And you can see the ground is great, it blends in so nicely to the overall what's already there. So it's I like it. I like it a lot. Look at the ground there. It's just seamless. So obviously the ground looks a bit bare, so I'm going to skip forward to the decorations tab now, and I'm going to use Settlement Objects Expansion, which is an Xbox mod, into the landscape part of that mod, and I'm going to use a number of different grasses, bushes, and various other things just to blend this whole area in. And again, this is what I kind of contacted Cordless and made a suggestion on that they should be within the Grounded app, so you don't have to be going in and out of different mods. I just said app then, but I meant mod. Or even, you know, ground pieces that have these already predetermined in them. So this takes quite a while to do, and so I'm just going to show a bit, just a fraction of what I've done here, because this takes quite a while. And the trick here is just to blend this, build up the different layers, use different shrubs, grasses, bushes, whatever, and systematically just go through and give you some ground coverage. Now, I don't completely cover everything, but the main reason that I do some building here too, and you'll see in a minute, it does actually work very, very well. And I use these to fill that gap in on that right hand side too that we showed you earlier. So skipping ahead, you can see, if you watch very carefully, there's grasses everywhere, but have a look at how this blends so well, and you wouldn't even know I'd added a floor in there. So we're going to add a few little things in here. A little building in here, a little shack, and I think given that it's sunshine tidings and it's kind of rural, what I'm about to show you is works very well. Now, this is a very simple idea. It's one that I've done in the Cutler's Bend build, and it just suddenly occurred to me that it would work here too. And it's a very, very simple structure, you'll see. So you put this shack wall end on, put a backing on it, close the other side of it with the end caps. That one will do fine, like that. And then all you have to do then is put a mattress in there, and suddenly it looks like somebody's dwelling, if you like. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put, and I guess this is, we're into a decoration type thing, but I wanted to show you this, how you don't have to build huge structures. Just drop the cooking station in the front there, and we will maybe just drop a seat or something in here, and it's a very, very simple structure. Now, I apologise if it gets a bit dark here. I do go and sleep in a minute, and you can see it's just added a little bit of character there, just by adding a few very small items into there. And I looked at this and I thought, yeah, I need to build something else here, so I'll show you in a second what we decided. So I've brightened this footage up as much as possible, and I'm going to use these little slanted roofs in here, and I'm going to build a little structure. Now, it took me a while to get this right and get it to look right, but what I end up with, I think I was very, very happy. See, it keeps clipping there, and I actually end up using that to my advantage, saying, that looks as though it could be quite interesting. I don't know what it is clipping to, but it's clipping, and it just sent me in a different direction than what I'd planned to go. So you can see the struggle is real. So let's move forward and have a sleep and come back when it's daylight. So here we go. We're going to take that second roof and we're going to make a triangle. So I'm going to make a little kind of barn here. So into the build menu we go. We're going to push that roof to the right spot, and then I'm going to put some supports on it. So we already have a roof there. We don't need to make this too big. So it was fighting me a bit, but eventually we do get it in. There you go, just like that, bang. A couple of supports on there, and then we'll just do some decoration, and it makes it an area that otherwise I don't know what I was going to do with it, but luckily it's all kind of came into view, and I just put it together and it all works. So and it ends up looking really nice. There we go, and it all seems to work in with this building in front of us as well. We've got 4 posts. Yeah, I don't know, that's strangely clipping, but I can live with that, that's fine. So let's just have a look at what it looks like. Step back. All looks good. So getting ready for the final tour, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was a great little build, and I'll reveal the secret underneath in a sec. So here's the finished area. I've added a few decorations in, as you can see, and it all kinds of blends nicely. And I don't mind those sandbags there. I think they kind of work okay. You put a tractor in and various things. There's a little bit more decoration, but not much. All these hay bales and barrels, and the guy's bed in there. I think it all really works nicely, and it's quite simple, quite easy to construct. Now let's head on down the hill now. There's going to be a bit of a transitional lighting change, and I'll talk about that right at the end of this video, what's going on there. So you can see the rocks in there, everything. I've put bushes and grasses and all kinds of things, and it all really kind of blends in really nicely. I really do like this mod. And then I've just junked up a whole lot of stuff in the front here. So let's go in and see what's going on here. Is it a workshop? What is it? It looks a bit dodgy, whatever it is. Some chemical equipment here. So this area here is now a little hidden little chem lab. Thank you very much for Chaos and Fallout for the idea, mate. You can see there's all manner of things lying around, ready to be filled up, or obviously orders to fill. Lots of bits and pieces. So there you go, guys. Nice little simple idea, little hidden area, and I'm sure with the grounded mod, there's lots and lots of possibilities that you could come up with for your own settlements. There you go, just like that. Okay, so for the future of the build here at Sunshine Tidings, I am experiencing a few issues. Mainly that the game keeps freezing up on me as I'm walking around, hence why we had the transition we did just then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this build for now and see if I can fix up or figure out what's causing it. It could be a mod, it could be a Fallout update, whatever it might be. See if I can fix this up. If not, we'll call this build finished and I'll do a final tour. So for next week, what I'm going to do, I propose we do, is that I will start to roll out some of the Proton Rad's challenge build at Cutler's Bend. I think you're really going to enjoy that one, guys, and then we may come back this, we may then start a new fixing up the Commonwealth build. So thanks for your support, guys. Great to see all your comments. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we will catch you next time on the channel.